Today we are going to be replacing the gimbal and the camera on the Hubsan Zino, and I will be showing you how to take the Zino apart and then replace the gimbal and the camera. This is only something you would need to do if your camera obviously is broken or you have crashed and damaged it. So that's what we're going to do in this video starting right now. First, you're going to need to remove this black cover. There's a few tools you can do that with. This is a really good tool that I've gotten for working on cell phones. And it's just simply a very thin piece of metal, very flexible. But you're going to want to get under the side of the black cover, and from there it just snaps off. Remove the cover. Take the button. Be careful not to lose that. Then you have two screws here. You're also going to want to remove the tape that covers the screws in the shoulders. For this I use a razor blade, or in this case I'm using a scalpel. Peel back the tape and remove the disc underneath, which is in there with glue or tape, like a 3M tape. Remove that, it's sticky. And there you see the screw. Go on the other side and do the same thing. Remove the disc on this one. And there's the shoulder screw for that, and the shoulder screw for that. So these are the screws we'll want to remove, along with the screws up here in the gimbal and here by the shoulder joints. So we'll start by removing these. If you own other Hubsan products that come with Phillips screwdrivers, those work nicely, or use your own. Remove these two screws. Flip it over so they come out. One came out, one did not. It's okay, we'll just leave it alone. Remove the screws in the shoulders. I'm sorry, we forgot to do the ones up here in the gimbal. Remove this screw and the screw on the adjacent side. And I'm not getting on it. It doesn't feel like it. There we go. Now the other side. Remove the white bracket. It's a bracket and it works as a guard. Now we want to remove the guard in the front. It works as a guard to protect the gimbal. It only has one screw. Remove it. Set it aside. We already removed our screws in the shoulders. Don't lose these little white discs. Now remove the two bottom screws. One very important thing I did not remember, don't forget to unplug your battery. Now we can take the cover off gently to the side. You have a plug here and a plug here. Both of them have some glue on them, some silicone, and I like to just use a razor blade. I know you probably cannot see this very well, but use a razor blade and cut a score right here, and the other side score the silicone there. I'm going to do that real quick. So now you want to gently get your fingernail up underneath there and unplug it, and do the same for this side. And put the cover aside. Now we want to go and remove the barometer and put it aside. Just set the barometer aside. Be very careful of this ribbon cable. Now we want to remove this cover. Just lifts right off. Snaps in the back. So as you see, I just pried it loose and it came off. And this piece here normally goes there, but I had it stuck right here. You want to make sure you put that back so it covers your plugs. You have a connection here and a connection here for the gimbal. Carefully pop those loose, and you'll notice they are glued. You can score the glue on each side with a knife. I've already had them undone, so they're already ready to come off. Peel it back. They are They are sticky underneath, so be careful when you pull them back. Okay. You want to carefully remove this foam. Try not to rip it. And be careful with the cable underneath it. Hold it down with your fingers. Peel a little bit off at a time so you can get it all off in one piece. Hold down the ribbon cable with your finger. Put that aside. And now you want to gently unpeel this. It's just like tape. Very careful with this. You can damage ribbon cable very easily. So now we're unattached here. These pieces here hold the gimbal in place. Now I have not done this before, so this is new. So it looks like we're just going to pop those through. Just like that. And grab our camera. Push the cable through carefully. And our gimbal and the camera are out. I'm going to also do a video. Now that we have this one out, I'll do a video and I'll remove this cover and we'll find the reset button that Hubsan says resets the gimbal. So for now I'm just going to put this camera aside. This is the new style camera with the flat lens, square lens. We're going to put that aside and put the same camera right back in it. The same type of camera right back in it. Okay, so here is our new camera. Same kind. This was out of a Hubsan Zino that had a defect, but the camera was still good. In fact, it still has the protective cover on the lens. So it's a brand new camera essentially, and we want to be very careful and try to do this so you can see it, but we want to push our cables up through the slots here. So put our cables in. Tweezers. And these have angles on them, so you want to be very careful and get the angles pulled back up in. Now we're good. So now the hard part too is getting all these little rubber pieces to come back up in. I've got 2 of them. Trying to get the other 2 to come up. I'm going to go ahead and pull these ones up while I have them. Just pull them up and they pop into place. And now you're just going to basically lower and raise the gimbal until those pieces pop in there. That's the plan anyhow. There's one. The other one doesn't want to go in. Okay, we're going to have to help it along here. Okay, now just pull them, pull on them, and that one came up too far. pull it and wiggle it. So if they go up too far, which some of mine did, you can just push them back into place. They have a slot just like a grommet. So I'm going to push them back down. Get them to line up. Okay, now they're all in. Let's get our tape lined up. I suggest you line the corners up first, just like that. That one's still not in. Okay, so now we got those in place. We want to get our tape, our foam, backwards, line it up, put it in place. We're going to plug these back in. Just take your time. You'll feel them snap into place. Trying to do this so you can see at the same time. Okay. So now those are back in place. Okay. You want to put this back on. I'm gonna glue it back to my cover. So the cover goes on like this. I'm gonna re-glue it to the cover. Okay, now I've got that glued back in. I go like this and pull this way so I can lay those little pieces of rubber down from the gimbal. Snap it in the back. Everything kind of snaps. Okay. And from there, put our barometer back in place. And our gimbal, you see, is mounted nicely. Everything is fine there. And from there, we'll put all the other parts back on. So now we take our cover and everything else and put it on, but what I'm going to do is, since I've already done this process before, when I replace the board, I'm just going to edit that part of the video in and show you how to put everything back together. So you take your cover and you plug it in to the board, and the two plugs, remember, I know you can't see, but this is pretty hard to show you. I can't even see it myself. Okay, the screws are in place. And now we are going to replace these two screws. piece of plastic back in place and get it to lay down. Don't forget to put your tabs back in place. Remember, they are sticky, so you want to line them up. I'll do that later. It's just too hard to line up. I want to make sure those are perfect, but put those back in place, then put your label back over top of it. Same for that side. And put our power button back in. Okay. And snap the cover on. Power button moved on me. Okay, all that's back in place, nice and smooth. Flip it over, and one screw, if you remember, did not come out. It's still in there. Put that screw in. Put this guard back in. Keep the screw in it. It's a lot easier to do it that way. It goes into a track, just like that. Tighten the screw. Keep your screws in this bracket. Set it down into place. Tighten those screws down. And you are done. Okay, so now we have everything back together, and we're going to power it on and see if our gimbal calibrates. I don't know if I can get it at an angle to show you. We're going to try it this way. I don't know if it'll do it. Hopefully you can see. And the gimbal is moving and set in the correct location. Everything is working. Alright, so now we have replaced the gimbal and camera. Everything should be working fine. Once you have done this, I suggest that when you connect to first, I suggest go ahead and reinstall the gimbal firmware and the camera firmware, and then when you connect to the app on your device with the controller, go in and under settings, do a gimbal calibration. If you do not know how to do any of those that calibration or install firmware, I have videos on how to install firmware, and I have a video that tells you what to do before you once you take it out of the box, before you put it up into the air. I have a video that tells you how to do all the calibrations. So look at that video and it'll tell you how to do the gimbal calibration. And make sure you put those back in. These are more important. These pieces here are just pieces to make it so the plastic or the stickers don't show a circle. Makes it more flush. Alright, that is it. Thank you very much for watching. If you're new to my channel, please click that subscribe button, and All you who subscribe to my channel, thank you very much, and give me a thumbs up, and we'll see you soon with a new video. Thank you.